Everybody, and it is Saturday morning. This is Saturday Morning Unplugged. I am glad that you're here with us today. And like I always say, buckle up. We're in for a ride this morning. I have a great guest, and we'll get to that in a minute. But more importantly, what are you being intentional about? Have you thought through where you're at? And let's talk about this for a minute. It's the end of the year, and we are getting down to the end of the fourth quarter at this point. And what I always say is when we're in the fourth quarter, we really need to pick up steam. A lot of times people start to relax. It's the holidays. People want to kick back. In reality, this is when we need to get going. We need to kick it into gear a little bit, do a little bit more. I put a post out this week. I said, double down. We probably should double down on our efforts a little bit more right now, gear up for the beginning of next year. The more effort you put in now, you're going to finish the year out a little stronger, and we're going to kick off for the new year. If you are somebody who's in the stage of planning right now, if you're looking to really get started, I have a free 2023 planning and goal setting guide. I'd love for you to grab a copy of that. Just shoot me a message in the chat, and we'll make sure that we get that out to you this week. So I look forward to you reaching out for that, because a little bit of guidance around that area, a little bit of planning guidance always helps us move a little bit further along. Hey, let me get to our guest this morning. We're honored to have Todd Stevenson, a local Chicago realtor, investor, been in the business for about 10 years. Todd owns and operates a company called Premier Chicago Real Estate. I'm excited about him being here, and let's bring Todd in. Hey, Todd, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I can't complain. Thanks for asking. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet. You bet. Well, we had the first snowfall in Chicago this week.
Oh, man. Tell me about it.
I
wasn't ready.
Yeah, I don't know that we are ever ready. As long as I've lived in Chicago, which has been forever, I don't know that we're ever ready. It's great when it first falls, but after that, it gets dirty and ugly and kind of a pain to move around in.
Tell me about it. Yeah, no. So to put it in perspective, man, here in Chicago, so just probably about a week ago, we had about 70-degree weather. I was out on the golf course with some buddies of mine, and a week later, here we are with snowfall. So it's the most bizarre thing. And I've been in Chicago majority of my life, born here, raised here, lived, in Kentucky, went to school there, but came back. But you never get used to it. You just never get used to it.
For sure. You park in the street, or do you have a garage?
We have a garage. Generally, I'm a little lazy with I park right in our driveway, but yeah, we do have a garage.
I park in the street, so I have to get my chair ready for clearing that.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's out with their chairs, kind of protecting their spots with the orange cones and things like that.
Yeah, if you don't live in Chicago. For the people who don't live in Chicago, you're not going to get that, but you live here, you know what that's about. Absolutely. Hey, Todd, I always love to kick my episodes off by asking one question, and that is, what one word best describes you personally and professionally?
Oof, that's a good one. I think if I had to go with one word to best describe me, I would say persistent. Okay. I've always been persistent with just my goals personally and business-wise, and just no matter what, I never let, because I know obviously obstacles are getting in the way, but never let obstacles kind of define me, to stand persistent with my goals, personally and business-wise. So, yeah, I would say persistent.
I'm always curious too about where that came from. So somebody, I get a variety of different words from people and have over the last couple of years. But where does persistence show up for you in your life? Where did it come from?
I think it maybe it goes back to when I was like a kid. I always just I felt like I always hung around like older people, whether if it's, as a kid, obviously you're hanging around your dad and your grandpa all the time because, they inspire you, right? And they're doing things that you look up to. And then I always had, I was the youngest of three boys. So my older brothers, and even having, like older friends as I gotten older into my teenage years, I was always hanging out with the older classmates because my brother was 2 years older than me. So I was hanging out with him and his friends. So it was just like always, looking up to that older generation and just seeing that like they were working towards something always. So it just made me like, okay, I see what they're doing. Now I always wanted to do that, like, and do something bigger or do something greater of like, opposed to what like my peers were initially doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it just came from that, like seeing, like, okay, I know these people are this much older than me. How do I get to that level?
Yeah.
So just staying persistent. And I think that's where it kind of came from.
Yeah, let me ask you this. Did you play sports growing up at all?
I did. Man, I felt like we played a little bit of everything. My mom had us when we was young. I was in tennis, baseball, basketball was the one that really kind of stuck with me all the way throughout high school. Was the last sport I played. But I played all sports when I was younger. It's like my mom wanted us to do. That was another thing too, right? So she wanted us to be involved. Three boys, a lot of stuff going around the house. So she was like, you guys got to get active.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think some of those qualities come from playing sports at a young age. The persistence, tenacity, work ethic, things like that cause accountability. I think that gets developed if you are committed to that, and a lot of it's good coaches, right? I remember
Yeah.
I remember my high school football coach, and actually my high school wrestling coach for that matter. But, those guys just really instilled some things into me that I don't think I ever forgot, so.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I remember, and my freshman year, I didn't make the basketball team, and I know how that kind of stuck with me. So that following year, I was like, my mom used to I used to be out in the garage dribbling 2 basketballs and out in the cold and all of that, trying to make sure I made the basketball team the following year. So, a lot of those lessons, like those failures, kind of help you that drive, that tenacity, that persistence, like you say, to keep you pushing on to help you reach your goals.
Well spoken, that's for sure. Hey, so tell a little bit more about your background. How'd you get in real estate? Where'd you come from? What'd you do before this?
Okay, yeah. Real estate is kind of always been around my family. From my grandparents, they own apartment buildings. So it was one of those things like, it's kind of stuck with me. So when I got out of college I don't want to date myself, but when I got out of college, it was something I wanted to do, and I let everybody talk me out of it. Just like with anything, the influence of, friends and family is everybody's like, oh, get a corporate job. You want, some security and all this other stuff. So I listened to him. I went into the corporate environment and I had some success in corporate. I was in corporate sales, from marketing to technology sales, and I had some success with it. But I was miserable there. It wasn't really me. I just didn't see myself long term being into a corporate environment. So needless to say, I started doing certain things of real estate on the side. So studying real estate, learning, the ins and outs of investing. It was a thing around called wholesaling, a lot of different techniques around real estate that I was learning. And then like when the market crashed, it was an opportunity. A lot of people were facing either foreclosure or the threat of losing their home. So with me learning, I learned that there was something in it, and it wasn't anything that was like a hidden secret. Things like loan modifications, where people can renegotiate and get back on track with their mortgage, and a lot of other tools and tactics where I was helping friends and family get back on track with their mortgage, or help them, or if they needed to sell, kind of advising them, how to go about doing so. And then we also bought a couple multifamilies during that time as well. So I knew it was something I really wanted to get in. And then an opportunity, obviously, when the market crashed, it was an opportunity where corporate were doing a lot of layoffs, as they normally do with, when you got, a recession or bad economy or whatever the case may be. So that was my opportunity then. So once I transitioned out of corporate, I went and got my real estate license, and the rest was history.
Yeah. Interesting. Hey, you mentioned a couple of times in what you were talking about, multifamily. This show's Multifamily Unplugged, right? So perfect
Yeah.
segue. When I talk about multifamily, I tend to talk about 50, 100, 200 unit multifamily apartment complexes. Is that what you're referring to when you said that you and your family went and bought a couple multifamilies?
We were doing smaller multifamily, 2 to 4 unit.
Okay.
Individually, personally, I never bought a large multifamily. I've advised on others buying multifamily, 5 units and above, but never really, before I got into real estate, because we were small investors. It wasn't like I knew a lot about large multifamilies, or even had the capacity to put together 100 unit or 50 unit multifamily deal. It's not until I got into getting my license to learn that these large multifamilies were options or opportunities to purchase.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? I remember being a kid and being in the back of the car, driving down the road, asking my mom, "Hey, who owns that big building, or who owns that apartment complex?" And my mom would always say, "I don't know, some insurance company." And I never got that. I never understood that till I closed my first institutional deal with an insurance company, and they were my equity partner in the deal. And it was like it clicked for me then at that point,
Yeah.
But it's interesting, the different ways to put together small multifamily, large multifamily. Hey, I tell people all the time that you can create great wealth in small multifamily apartments.
Oh, absolutely. It's all about, the end goal, right? So let's just say, if my goal was to say I wanted to do, 500 units, I wanted to have 500 income producing units under my belt. It's several ways of kind of getting there, right? So obviously the quicker way is taking down a bulk of those units, where if you're, got a 20 unit or a 55 unit, you can get to that 500 or 1,000, whatever the case may be, a lot quicker. But when I came into the game, I was working with an investor that was buying all single family homes, and he bought over roughly around 140, 150 properties of cash flowing single family units. I mean, we were finding properties for 15 to 50K, and he'd go in there, do a small, turn of, is what you call it if you do an apartment, or a flip, or not really a flip, but improve the property to get it to rentable standards, and then put a tenant in there and cash flow it for a period of time.
So I don't mean to cut you off, but he was buying those to fix and hold. So he
Correct.
So he was buying them to fix and hold, and he did 140.
Roughly, I'd say between 140 and 150 or so.
Wow.
He still has roughly maybe like 90 plus. That that was about 15 years. No, not 15. About 10 years ago.
Okay, so now
that was
look at
2012 ish.
So here, I always talk to people about economies of scale, right?
Yeah.
So if you own 140 single family properties and you're 10% vacant, okay, first of all, you got 140 furnaces, 140 roofs, 140 hot water heaters. Where if you own a 140 unit apartment complex, maybe you have 4 roofs, 4 hot water heaters, 4 furnaces. But
correct. Yeah.
If you're 10% vacant on 140 single family houses, and you're paying that mortgage payment, it could be kind of tough, right, on your pocketbook. Where the economies of scale on the multifamily side gives you the ability, if you're 10% vacant on 140 unit multifamily, you can probably still pay pay your bills, right?
Oh, without question.
So,
Yes.
so there's a big I always try to have people take a look at those economies of scale. But
Yeah.
are you so Todd? You own a company here in Chicago called Premier Chicago Real Estate. Why don't you talk about that a little bit? Talk about that company, where it's at, a little bit about your agents.
Yeah, I mean, we're an independent boutique real estate brokerage. Started back in 2020 um, with just myself. You know, we've grown to 4 agents. It's 4 of us. We're doing, roughly, we do residential, commercial, as well as investment. So, what we're talking about, whether if it's, advising people on, how to buy multifamily investments or, you know, um, um, fix and flips or a lot of commercial investments, et cetera.
Sure.
So, yeah, we've been around since 2020. We roughly do, I don't know if do we talk about numbers or not, but yeah, I mean, we're growing. We have some really aggressive goals. We've come, done 8 figures from, since we started until now, and got some really aggressive goals going into 2023, as well as looking to bring on some more brokers. So yeah, that's pretty much, we're just getting started. I mean, we just had our 2-year anniversary party, looking forward to really taking on 2023 as a whole. I know with the market shifting, a lot of the opportunity to come into, the multifamily, the off market, the investment side, I think is going to really take hold. And I'm sure you can kind of speak to that with different investment strategies, as far as like, people, transitioning from one investment vehicle back into real estate because of what's going on in the current market.
Yeah. So how has the market shift here in the last few months affected your business?
Oh, man, tremendously. So with inflation and interest rates going up, we have, if we have all of our buyers are kind of like, on the fence. They're nervous because they don't know if the interest rate is going to continue to rise, is the interest rate going to come back down? But either way, they're at a standstill. They're like, okay, if I was buying a $400,000 house, 6 months ago or 9 months ago, my payment is now almost $800 or $900 more if I go in with this 7.5% interest rate. So what should I do? Should we wait, Todd? Should we try to buy down the interest rate, which is also an option? And I do advise people to look at all options before making a decision. But you do have, people that's like, I'm gonna see what's going to kind of transpire over the next few months to see if the interest rates are going to come down. So you got buyers waiting on the sideline. We've had some sellers that have had their property, on the market due to the buyers sitting on the sideline. The sellers now are struggling to sell a little bit. So what they're doing is they're taking their property off the market until the spring to see. And historically, this is a slow time anyway, but with everything else going on, they're like, okay, let's wait a few months, see what kind of transpire in 2023, and then try to go back to market. So it's affected our business quite a bit. But on the flip side, we've had investors like, okay, we're ready to go. Like, so we've been putting a big push on off market and investment deals. So we're finding a lot of multifamily off-market deals now that we're helping investors go in and purchase to invest to, for their portfolio.
Nice. What do you make of this week though? I mean, interest rates are going up. Fed's been saying, hey, we're going to raise rates. And now this week, the rates came back down. What do you make of that?
That's tough. I mean, they came down a bit. But I mean, I feel like we're all unsure of what direction that they're going. Like, what's the purpose behind all of this? Like, is that making sense? Like,
yeah,
like they're trying to curb inflation, so they keep raising the rates. But then it's like a lot of confusion going on right now.
Well, the question becomes, how much money can you put into the economy before you have to try and pull it back out, right? So think about all the PPP loans, all of the stimulus checks, everything the government did during the pandemic. and now
Print
they're saying,
money.
well, let's try and pull some of this money back out. So
Yeah.
by raising rates and by trying to stall the economy a little bit, they're trying to balance things out. I don't necessarily know that I agree with the way they're doing it or how they're doing it. And Todd, the thing that scares me right now, and maybe you can speak to this a little bit, is there some doomsday experts out there that are saying that this could be worse than 2008? You've got some big, economists and people that have been in the business a long time saying that this could be the worst recession we've ever seen. Not to buy real estate, to buy, put your money in gold and crypto. And,
Wow.
I don't
Yeah.
know, I don't buy into that, but, any thoughts around any of that?
I want to tread lightly on this, but I don't think we'll ever get back to with the subprime mortgage, like, because we don't have subprime mortgages, right? So, I feel like, and I think it was some stat. I think I don't know if it's 80 or 90. I don't think it's 90 percent of all current owners or homeowners have like is it 4% or lower on their interest rate or something like that? I
Right.
could be inaccurate, but so it's tough to say, like I really don't think it's going to ever get back to 2008 standards, but I think we are going to have some kind of correction here, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're already kind of seeing it, in a sense, because home prices are going to have to come down if buyers aren't buying, and sellers, aren't able to unload their properties. Then we're gonna see some kind of decrease in the market, but I don't think we'll ever get back to 2008. And that's just speculation. I mean, I'm no economist, but just from what I see in the real estate world, I don't think we'll ever get back to 2008. But
yeah, I'd have to agree with you. And I say that because, I've been through a few of these cycles, and you're right. There's no CMBS market. There's no substandard loans. There's not a lot, if any, bad paper out there. You've got low interest rate bias. A heavy percentage of homeowners have that low interest rate. The ones I'm concerned about are the multifamily guys, commercial commercial buyers that bought deals in 3 and 4 cap markets, and they did a floating rate loan where maybe they got a 2% floor, but they could go to a 7 or an 8 ceiling, and it's gonna they're not, when those rates start to kick in on those floaters, that could be painful to those multifamily investors. So that we're kind of watching for deals like that might start to come up. We're seeing some assumables right now, which we haven't seen in years, and some of them are a little bit more attractive than others, but some of them are still keeping you priced out of where the market is right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting time, Mike, as you know, very interesting time.
Yeah.
But I think you guys, I think on the multifamily side, what I'm seeing, and as I think it's going to be, like you say, it's going to be some good opportunities coming available for you guys.
Yeah.
And you do your syndication. So correct me if I'm wrong. You do all of the all around the U.S., correct?
Yeah, we primarily focus in the southeast corridor. So if you look on a map from Dallas to Charlotte, that southern southeast smile of the United States. Some markets we like more than others, but that's primarily where we look. So, yeah. So things we look for, and population growth, job growth, landlord friendly states, more red than blue.
Yeah.
But I'm also wondering about this Chicago market a little bit, and wondering if there's going to be some opportunity here for people to grab hold of. Because what I'm telling people today and is position yourself today in front of that next bull run, because we're just coming out of this cycle where it's been really robust over the top of the hill. We're going to go in this valley, no matter coming down, coming out, wherever now, if you look at a U shape, right? Wherever you position yourself now, you're going to come out of this thing and be at the front of the next bull run, even if it falls a little bit further. And you're going to be in a great, great place as the market starts going up again. And, I heard somebody the other day say, tell your buyers that you're going to, even if you pay a little more on an interest rate today, the rates are going to come down. You'll have an opportunity to go refinance.
Absolutely. Yeah, no. And that's where, people like you and I kind of come in, as far as like, the sophisticated investor. Like, you need to know, like, because everybody's scared, right? Everybody's like worried, like, the sky is falling. What do I do next? And I get the questions, whether it's like, okay, Todd, is now a good time to buy? Should I be investing? Should I be doing this? And like you said, like we're coming down in this valley, right? And if you invest now in the valley, because it's ebbs and flows in real estate, as you know, and in any, like in the market as well. So the market's gonna, like real estate. The biggest thing is right now, I feel like if you have equity, like if your money is like just sitting in the bank or on a mattress somewhere, obviously, as you know, with inflation, that you're losing. So, why not, invest in, real estate or a vehicle that, has proven time over time to produce the returns that you need in order to succeed and build wealth and overall. Yeah.
And you're not kidding about that. There's a lot of people that have money just sitting in a checking account.
Oh, look, you telling me, man. I'm like, and I have conversations with friends and family all the time. It's like, just to kind of tell them, like, okay, you don't have to go and buy the building yourself. I mean, obviously, there's joint ventures or syndication. Obviously, an opportunity to invest your money and have equity in something that's going to grow. Opposed to sitting in an account that's not, really gaining you much of anything.
Yeah. Well, we should talk if people looking to passively invest.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyhow, hey, let's back up a little bit. Let's talk about Premier a little bit. And what type of training do you have? A good training program in place for new agents? If there were a couple agents listening in today and they said, hey, this sounds like a company I'd like to work for. Talk about training a little bit.
Yeah, we do more of it. So we're not, again, being a boutique brokerage, we're competing, with the larger houses such as your KWs and your ATs and things like that. But for us, it's more of a like a cultivation. Like you come in with us, you get that hands-on, one-on-one training. All of my agents have access to myself as the managing broker if they have questions or issues without a deal. And then we go ongoing weekly training. Generally, when we do an onboarding, we probably take the first 30 days and really just kind of narrow out like the basics of being a broker. And then we take another 30 days to kind of iron out different like negotiating skills or cold calling or listing presentations and different things like that. And then it's from there, it's like ongoing training. So we have a value of like a multitude of opportunities to just to develop and train our brokers as they come on. But I think the biggest competitive advantage for us, Mike, is that we have that cultivation, meaning like it's like I got brokers that they can call me at any time of the day and I can walk them through whatever issue that they're having. Mm-hmm. And I know we brought on a broker from a larger house, and that was one of her complaints was that she didn't receive that at the larger house. And I hear that kind of throughout the industry. If you got an issue with the deal, I feel like you need somebody that you can go to, some sort of team lead, some sort of manager, preferably your managing broker, to say, I'm stuck here. I need some help. Can you assist me? Or this is something I'm looking to do, and can you shed some light on how to go about doing this? I think that's key, and not just telling them or showing them a video or something like that, being able to kind of walk them through it. And I think that's where some of the smaller houses like myself, and there's a few other independent brokers here in Chicago that are able to do the same. So I think that's where our competitive advantage lies.
It's kind of funny because I think that's a great philosophy, especially being a hands-on broker or managing broker like that, where you can really pour into your people a little bit more. I'll never forget when I first got started in the business. I was at one firm, and it was a big firm, and I had asked the managing broker at the time a question, and he said, "I don't know." And immediately the thought that went through my mind was, well, if you don't know, why am I even here? And I wound up going to a larger national broker across town. And actually, that was Remax that I went to, and, went on to sell, 79 houses that year. And, so I think people need that, especially in the beginning, especially when it comes to what do I say? How do I act with people? Scripts and dialogues, things like that are important for people to understand. It's just like if you're an investor and you're going to knock on somebody's door because you might want to buy their house or it looks like it's distressed, have the right script and the right dialogue. Know what to say. Be comfortable with that.
Absolutely, because as you know, you got a short window really to grab somebody's attention, right? Because especially, in like if you're investing and you're calling somebody out of the blue, they're like, they're already up in arms, like, who are you and why are you calling me? Like, okay, and you got to break that barrier down because we're all in sales, right? So you got to break that barrier down to be able to communicate effectively, to be able to get that deal. So yeah, absolutely, I agree.
I followed a national trainer for years, and just, an organic or, not affiliated with any one company. But I learned early on 6 great questions that you could ask anybody anywhere, whether you were at a work picnic, a cocktail party, on the phone, cold calling, that I never forgot. And they always have come in handy, even today in the investing world. So,
yeah.
Hey, how about tech? What do you what do you like from a technology standpoint? What's one of your best tools? How about what does your company use?
For us, I mean, it starts with our CRM, our relationship management software. I think that's the lifeline, the heart of our business, is because we have everything from being able to upload and store documents there to kind of keep track of what every relationship, every client, every lead, all the communication and everything is right in there. So I think that's really the lifeline of our systems. Obviously, we use a lot of the other electronics, DocuSign and signatures and transaction management. The technology is really key because right now, I mean, it's a technology age. So speed is everything in our business. So to be able to kind of get contracts and documents signed and be able to communicate with the client if we can't meet them face to face, to be able to jump on a Zoom call or a video call or whatever the case may be. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, I think really the lifeline is our CRM. Outside of that, are you looking for like specific like programs that we use, or
is there any one piece of technology that and if it's your CRM that makes a difference? Hey, listen, when I first went into business, they didn't teach me about a CRM. I used to use 3x5 note cards,
yeah.
And I wish somebody would have taught me about using a computer database back then, because it would have saved a lot of challenges along the way. But I really believe that that's something that every new agent, every investor needs to have in their toolbox.
Absolutely. Another and like, so I mean, we use a lot of different tools. The main tool also is we have a tool where we send out texts and ringless voicemails, and that has been a lifesaver in our prospecting and getting new businesses, because I don't know what the open rate is for text, but we send out so many texts over a given day and week and month, and we get so many responses, which all leads into a warmer call for us. So again, when we spoke about people being up in arms about, initially calling, I mean, I had one meeting today, but 2 meetings yesterday. And this is just from calls that we did. I mean, texts that we just sent last Thursday or Friday, and
Sure.
2 off-market meetings with 2 opportunities. No, three off-market meetings with 2 opportunities for 2 multifamilies in Woodlawn. So it's like, I mean, this is, it's not like it's groundbreaking technology, but it's great. I mean, the text and the ringless voicemails leads us into the warmer call where people are like, yes, I am interested in selling. How can you help me?
Mm-hmm.
And now we get in front of them and we're able to kind of be personable and show them what we've done and how we can help them to, kind of help them achieve their goals. So that's been another tool of those text and ringless voicemails.
So what is the name of that program?
We have one called REI Reply and another one called Call Tools.
And they're
I'm
both
giving away my secrets here, Mike.
No, yeah, that's okay. Those are both texting platforms.
Yeah, REI Reply and Call Tools. You can use texting, ringless voicemails, Call Tool. Both of them have dialers. Yeah, I mean, and then obviously we got our email blasts and things like that. But that's been key for me.
Yeah, interesting. I'm gonna have to look at that for myself. So,
yeah, man. I mean, they got in another tool is you have. So we have one as a realtor that's offered through our MLS. It's called Remind, but the off-market tax records, how you can pull who's the owner of what property.
yeah.
They have different ones. You got PropStream, which is one. You might want to look into that one. You can look into see who's the owner of certain buildings and properties. And I know First American Title. They have a program too that can help you do some off market, basically finding owner information of whatever property, commercial, multifamily, single family, you name it, land. You can find all that information generally on those platforms.
Interesting. All right. Well, listen, let's start to wind this down. I always like to ask 3 bonus questions, just kind of off the cuff. So what's the best book you've ever read?
Ooh, man, that's a tough one. If I can think of one that really stuck with me, Robert Kiyosaki has not Rich Dad Poor Dad, but it's what's the book? It's called
4 Quadrants.
No, the Leverage one.
Oh, not sure.
It's part of that series though.
Okay.
Oh man, it just that one really sat home. I don't know the title, and I thought I it's something about leverage of how he got into the business. He breaks down the 4 quadrants. He's talking about Rich Dad Poor Dad, but how he kind of got into where he is as far as like using leverage through real estate and just or people or whatever the case may be to get where he is today.
Yeah. Interesting.
I'll get you the title. It's fresh on my. I mean, it's on my mind, but I can't. It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it though.
Yeah, awesome. How about best restaurant?
Ooh, I have to go with Gibson's Italia. We really like Italian food, and that's where I proposed to my wife. So.
Oh, nice, awesome. I see that place and had never gone there. So it's different than regular Gibson's.
Yeah, this is the Italian restaurant versus the steakhouse.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. Gonna have to check that out. So,
yeah,
and I'm a pasta guy. So
me too, man.
I love give me pasta any day or pizza. I'm good with that.
Every day, my wife is she'll tell you every day I can eat pasta, pizza, all the above.
How about best tourist attraction?
Ooh, tourist attraction. Or like location, like travel destination or tourist attraction.
Yeah, either way, however you want to answer it is fine.
Now that's a tough one. Like for me, I mean, we do like to travel. We like to go to warm climates. So I love the Caribbean. My wife and I love the water. So I like to snorkel or be some, boating or, any of the above. So yeah. Yeah.
I'm going in January.
Yeah. And then, I like to call myself, if you haven't seen me, I love golfing. So anytime I can get a nice round of golf in a nice warm climate, I love it, man.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll have to go sometime.
Hey, man, let's go. Don't tempt me with a good time, Mike.
Yeah. We'll put a little group together.
Okay.
Hey, Todd, it's been great. Tell people how they reach out to you, get a hold of you.
Yeah, I can be reached. I mean, I love email because I always like to have a paper trail, but info@premierchicagorealestate.com or Todd@premierchicagorealestate.com. Our website is premierchicagorealestate.com. We're still building our social Instagram presence, but you can find us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, all of the above.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks for being here. I really appreciate your time and your knowledge. For somebody who's been around the business and then getting in the business, you definitely have a lot of knowledge and expertise, and I can see how that hands-on will really help people. So, hey, Todd, I'm going to move you out. I'm going to say goodbye, and if you hang out with me in the back room for a minute, that'd be great.
Sounds good.
All right, thanks. Hey, everybody, boy, what a great episode today, right? Todd Stevenson from Premier Chicago Real Estate. You know what? If you're in Chicago, you're looking for a brokerage, reach out to Todd. He definitely will serve your needs best, whether you're selling or whether you're buying or you're an investor looking for an opportunity out there. And a lot of times that's what you get from that small brokerage, right? I love talking to people that have that much knowledge about the business and how they can help not just their agents, but help the client as well. So, hey, thanks for being here, everybody. Again, great episode this week. We're here every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. So make sure you tell somebody, stick a cup of coffee in their hand, help them show up. But we always try to bring somebody on in the investment space, in the multifamily space, talking about, scaling a business, talking about the different tools that we need in the business and the things that help us grow. So you don't want to miss one of these episodes. You can go to our YouTube channel, subscribe there. You'll be able to go back, listen to some past episodes, some great speakers. Like us, love us on social media. I will look forward to seeing everybody next week. If I can do anything for you, and remember, our free 2023 goal setting and planning guide is out. So direct message me, email my office, and we'll make sure